So you want to be a cool ranger like me and be able to kill this guy? Or maybe be a part of the cool kids club and kill this guy? Well, if you have decided you really hate yourself and you want to play the most APM heavy class in the game, just like I did too, here's a quick guide on how the ranger class works. Now, buckle up guys, we're in for a actually pretty straightforward ride, honestly. Yeah. So I was a nerd and actually hovered my mouse over every stat we have in the characters tab. I know, lame as hell. But what I found is that Ranger scales off agility primarily, since half of the agility goes straight to range damage. Yes, we like big damage number now, don't we? Strength also applies to melee damage, but since all we can wear for melee is a kitchen knife and we only have 2 skills that do melee damage, one being for PvP for the most part, we're not focusing on strength. Another very important aspect of the ranger is the way your skills work. Unlike the other classes, our abilities don't scale with attributes like agility, strength, willpower, and so on, but they have range damage multipliers. Ethereal's Sting is the only exception here, which is going to ignore that too, as you'll use it primarily for PvP or boss fights. The final 2 important stats for rangers are ranged critical and ranged skill, both scaling up equally of agility, strength, and courage at a ratio of 3:1. Meaning for every 3 points of either of them, we get 1 of ranged critical and 1 of ranged skill. Now, ranged critical is very easy to calculate, as the tooltip suggests you divide this value to your target's level. So if you have 1000 ranger critical value and you attack a level 25 target, you have a 40% chance to critical hit, increasing your damage by 150%. Ranged skill, on the other hand, is used to determine the parry chance for your attacks to get parried and do only half the damage, also not being able to crit. The way this works is by comparing your value to your opponent's, either PvE or PvP, and determine the chance to get parried. We do not know the exact calculations here, nor we do for the extra damage stated in the tooltip, but the general consent in the community is that 500 is enough. I have currently 463 with only 50 points invested, and will continue to grow it by upgrading my gear. Now, do not forget about juicing up your abilities, as I may or may not have done in the past. Your abilities get really stronger when you level them up to level 5. There's really no room for variations in here, so here's what you should get. You want to get aim shot to level 5, as you usually pair it with multi-shot, since they both have the same cooldown. Arrow Flurry 5 is very important too for the cooldown reduction on your basic attack, allowing you to use your basic attack every 1.5 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Blindside 5 is extremely good, as it allows you to set up for your kidney shot, which is the highest multiplier we have right now, and it also offers you a 5-second escape. Devotion is an incredibly good skill, especially with the recent changes giving you 20% mana back when the buff expires. Entangling Shot 5 is your slow and has a decent damage multiplier. You get Explosive Arrow 5. Focused Evasion 5 increases the time you can evade an attack by 1 second, and although it does not sound like much, in reality it goes a long way. Sabotage 5 will be very important, as in group dungeons you initiate fights by vanishing and using Sabotage on a mob. Sleep Arrow 5 is again an escape, putting the target to sleep for 13 seconds, a huge window. We get Stunning Shot to 5, this having as well our second highest multiplier. Ethereal Sting might be good to put some points into when you PvP, but for now in PvE you will only use it for the reduced healing it does. Hamstring is good as it is, and you will only use it in PvP for the most part. Flame Arrow is worth getting to level 5, as well as Eye Gouge and Mark Target, which you will use on every rotation. Alright, now here comes the juicy part of the video, the gear. As you now know that agility is your primary way of increasing big numbers on your screen, every piece of equipment has to have agility on it. Considering that our abilities do not scale with attributes, there isn't any other desirable attribute we want, so we go for either strength or courage to increase our range crit and ranged skill. Now, if you did your homework and paid attention this far, you now know that both scale at a ratio of 3:1. So from this standpoint, it really doesn't matter which one you go for. Strength will give you some more health regen and courage more elemental resistances, but the increases are quite small, so for all the intended purposes of this video, they are equal. What you do want is the equip bonus on the 2 attribute pieces. Now currently gear in the game can have either 3 attributes and no equip bonus, or 2 attributes and 1 equip bonus. Since we value our beloved damage so much, the best things you can get in the order of importance are increased ranged weapon value, increased range critical, or increased range skill. There might be room to trade range value for range critical, as some items can roll higher max values than others, but that is something I'll let you guys decide on as you progress the game. One quick tip when it comes to upgrading your gear is always thinking of what you trade when you're replacing gear, and how much does it cost. For instance, this Holy Coif compared to my Godly Coif would be an upgrade as it has 12 ranged weapon value, but switching to it I lose a gem socket. And the difference in agility is 6 plus 3 from the gem socket I lose, so 9. Trading 4.5 damage from agility, but gaining 12 from the equip bonus, resulting in a 7.5 damage gain. This might be worth or not, depending on how much you have to pay for the Holy Coif and where you are in your gearing journey, as you might better spend that money improving another piece. I'll finish off with a roundup of how I invested my points. I will probably juggle with them in the future as I'll get into PvP more, but for PvE for the most part, I think this works the best for me. So I have 40 points invested in strength to a total of 50, so I can wear these pieces of equipment. I have 202 points into agility. I have 30 points invested in courage. This was some leftover after I distributed the other points. I have 1000 points in health, 812 points in mana. I used to have a little bit more here, but I squeezed some more points into agility. At the same time, for the range critical, I invested 850 points. In my opinion, going all the way up to 999, which is the cap here, is not necessarily really worth it. It might be for you, maybe. And in the end, I have 50 points invested in range skill as well to help me with that parry chance a little bit. Congratulations, you are now an expert ranger. I am proud of you and of myself. It took me a while to write the script. Now, I want to do a big shout out to Grind Enjoyer for providing this Excel sheet I call the Holy Grail of Rangers. Check it out in the description for a more detailed guide. Seriously, this guy is a wizard. I have also created a guild called The Association, and I am currently accommodating my Discord for everything we might need. So if you want to join the cool guys, make sure to whisper me in-game for an invite, even if you are a new player who's looking for directions. I also stream almost daily on Twitch at Breachttv, so if you have any questions or just want to hang out, you'll find me in there. Alright now, go kick some ass and be an awesome ranger. Breach is out.